Hey, this is Jen. I hope everybody's good. Thank you for being here. I'm here with an energy update, so welcome if you're new. Welcome back if you're not new. I'm going to start right away with the collective energies. We are in the first week of July, well, second, because it's July 9th, and July is a month of events, very eventful month. A lot of things happening in July. A lot of things being released, renewed, reborn, and new things showing up. A very, very, very eventful month, full of highs and lows and extremes. And oh, I feel good. Now I feel bad. It's all for positive change. It's all for us to ascend higher and to become more aware, more conscious of ourselves, of energies, of spiritual matters, and whatever it means in your life at that time. We had an eclipse on July 2nd, and this eclipse brought a wave of new energies, and it means different things for different people, even though the energy is the same. Because when the energy, which starts on the spiritual level, when it makes its way down to the physical, into a person's life, that's where things change. And since we all have our own reality and living a different reality from one another, this energy that is the same will translate into different things in our life. And at some point, we can be synchronized with people we know or people that we are in contact with. But at the end of the day, our journey is very, very different from one another. Therefore, the energy will do whatever it needs to do to help you move forward and ascend higher. The eclipse brought, like I said, a huge wave of new energy that triggered a lot of purging for a lot of people. And if you look at it, the process is always the same. And it's when we become aware of it that we are less triggered, that we become more at ease with this process, and that we resist a lot less. The process is always, always the same. New energies are coming in. And from the moment that they start showing up and the moment that we integrate them physically, there's this cycle of purging and releasing that needs to happen to make space for those energies. Then there's the healing cycle and then the integrating cycle, which can often happen at the same time. Then the healing. When you start healing, it means that you start to integrate physically the energy, physically the new consciousness that showed up in your life. It's always the same thing, always the same process, always the same steps. You don't integrate before you start releasing. That's pretty impossible. You need to make space. So always the same thing. And I know that this eclipse, for some people, it was a huge relief, saying, oh, finally, more people are going to be on the same page as me. I'm not going to feel such like I don't belong or like an outsider, an underdog. I will feel more understood. For a lot of people, though, it triggered a lot of releasing of unconscious beliefs, energies that were still present. A lot, like, and I was mentioning the extremes for July, a lot of twin flames got into a cycle of separation so that they could heal. And another group of twin flames went into union or are about to get into union, are into the union process. And it's not through a general reading that we can get all our answers. The answers are in the heart. The answers are being delivered with the intuition, the knowing, the awareness and consciousness. And that's what the eclipse was about. To take a layer off for people to understand that consciousness and apply it into their lives. It also triggered a huge cycle of family karma, especially for the divine masculine, the energy of the divine masculine. A lot of family karma was at play in the past week, past 7 days or so. A lot. And if you are a sensitive person, you may have felt this playing out in your body, especially in the root and sacral chakra. And what's left at this time is the solar plexus. There's a huge collective block in the solar plexus. And this is where a lot of people receive the spiritual information, receive the energies through the solar plexus. And there's still a block there because that healing and purging process is not completed yet. And it shall go on. It shall keep on moving forward and go forward until it's completed. Doesn't mean that we're all going to complete it at the same time. It really depends on what we do, how we do things, how we are, how we live our lives, the choices that we make. But it does mean that the collective is moving forward. And when the second eclipse shows up in July, that's going to be another layer of this, of unblocking the solar plexus and being able to connect with that energy center, to understand the energy world. Because yet at this time, not everybody understands it. And that's fine. Doesn't mean that there's a problem with this. It's coming. It's coming. It also started a cycle of balancing and merging the feminine and masculine energy even more, even deeper. And you may have felt this. A lot of physical symptoms, new physical symptoms showed up with this merge. And you may notice this physically if, let's say you have a weak shoulder, for example, or you usually have pain in the same shoulder, same wrist, same elbow. That pain may have switched side not too long ago, recently. That's the awakening of the energy. A lot of people who are embodying more of the divine masculine are merging and balancing with their divine feminine. And the other way around is true too. And if you're in a twin flame connection, you most probably are picking this up from your twin. I was going to say from your friend, from your twin. You're probably feeling the transformation that is going on with the divine masculine. A lot of them are now embracing their spiritual gifts. They're now, and it's a process. We don't become spiritually attuned in 24 hours. It takes time. And a lot of them are more ready now to embrace their feminine side, to embrace all that comes with the feminine energy, meaning spirituality, being more connected to the heart, less in the doing, more in the being, more into the nurturing, instead of pushing, instead of trying to provoke, nurturing, allowing, and just being present. So a lot of divine masculine are getting good at using their spiritual gifts in their own way. In their own way. So that also created a better alignment between the root chakra and the heart chakra. So basically, during this eclipse, all our energy centers were touched and affected by those new energies. And depending on what you've been working on, depending on what you've been doing in terms of awakening and spiritual ascension, or just plain simple self-care, self-awareness, you may notice that a lot of fears are now gone. It feels as though they disappeared overnight with the eclipse. That's the root chakra. There's still some work to be done there, mainly relating to karma, whatever was passed on generation after generation. And it's been scientifically proven that whatever pattern our family was holding, it's in ourselves, and we need to clear that out if we want to break free of that. So a lot of divine masculine went through a transformation of releasing the family karma, which a lot of divine feminine had completed a while ago. And they also went through a major transformation of this spiritual stuff is real. I can't deny it any longer. I cannot pretend that it's not there. I am now seeing like a bunch of synchronicities that I can now admit seeing for a long time, but I was choosing to ignore all of these signs. And now it's obvious, and it's impossible for me to deny that it has an influence on me, an influence in my life, and that I have to align with that. Because so many tower moments showed up with this eclipse. I want to say it's ridiculous. It was one thing after another. More like major tower moments for some, like losing jobs, getting sick. And all of these are messages for, hey, buddy, it's time for you to get it. It's time for you to release that behavior or that pattern and embrace a new one that is more aligned with spirituality. At the core of humanity, human beings were always aligned with some form of spirituality, and along the way, because of technology, because of money, because of all these systems that are in place, we kind of lost it. Not everyone, but a lot of people lost this ancient knowledge, and now the divine masculine is aligning to that. They have no choice. In those tower moments, for other people, they were small, but many tower moments, one after the other. So I see a lot of people these days changing cars, changing things physically in their physical life. That means that a lot of work has been done spiritually. Cleaning out your closets, cleaning out your, I don't know, wardrobes, giving away stuff so that you can feel lighter. That's a very good sign that a lot of work has been done spiritually. If on the other end, you are crying, you are feeling heavy, you are in pain physically or in pain emotionally, well, that's a spiritual purge. And it probably started with a tower moment that was major for you to release that, because it's no longer in alignment with your higher self, with your highest good. That's why we're here, to be aligned with our highest good, highest interest, higher self. That's the whole point. So still playing out is the block at the solar plexus. So that will change after the next eclipse, slowly but surely. It's not something that can happen overnight. It could be very traumatizing to do so. For some, they're able to just release, and that's good for them. Really good for them. And for others, they feel that block in the solar plexus. They just feel it. Physically, it may feel like stomach aches or density around the solar plexus. We were also called with this eclipse to give forgiveness on many different levels, but mainly towards the people who are judging spiritual people, towards people who have judged you for speaking your truth, towards people who we may call asleep, without putting them down or anything, but people who are still too much in their ego, forgiveness towards them. That's the only way to transform that density and that darkness that was present in the collective energy, is to forgive, to move on, to move forward. And for those who resonate with being a way shower, being like up front of the wave, that's a major step to take, forgiveness. I know for myself, I took an entire day to heal that and to spiritually release, spiritually forgive a lot of people, and wishing them love and light, and wishing them alignment, truth, wishing that they see their own truth so that they can help the collective, so that they can move forward harmoniously with the collective instead of creating resistance. And not that there's something wrong with that, it's their choice, but other people are paying for their choice. And it can be painful for some. It can be painful. Some people have a path that is very tedious because they are, I don't know how to say it. Some people will call it have a soul contract to help awaken people, and that doesn't always come easily. They get judged, they get persecuted. So that was playing out also in the past few days. And really, forgiveness is the only way to transform this, the only way to find your personal freedom and to help other people, even if they don't want to speak to you, even if they're afraid of you. Forgiveness heals. For a lot of people at this time, it's also very hard to ground because we're feeling spacey. This actually ended today, but you may still feel spacey, like forgetting which day it is. What's today's date? That feeling of having our heads in the clouds is just the result of these new energies, higher vibrations. It's affecting our bodies. It's affecting the way we think, the way we see. It's affecting our focus. It's affecting everything. Our body is trying to become lighter. So that's why we feel spacey. And in those moments, it's really important to try to ground as much as possible and to just chill and let the wave pass by. It will pass by. It actually ended today, but I know that some people are still feeling spacey. And when we feel spacey like that, like waking up in the morning and being like, what's today's day? It's Monday, but we think it's Friday kind of thing. Or stuff like that, we just kind of lost that connection to time. It's a sign that we are integrating physically new energies, new knowledge, new consciousness. And that's why we feel lost, because the alignment is not completed yet. And then comes a resting period of a resting phase where the body needs downtime to integrate. And then, depending on where you're at, it may trigger or start a new healing cycle, which starts with the purge, with the release, healing and integration, always the same thing. So yeah, this time pretty hard to ground because our point of reference have changed. It's not the same. And you're probably been feeling like time is doing weird things on you. Passing by too fast, passing by too slow, being like, what, already? Going to sleep and waking up and feeling like it's been 2 minutes. The opposite is true too. Going to sleep and feeling like it's been like days that you've been asleep. That's all because of energies, all because of consciousness changing, all because our body is changing. And talking about our bodies, physical symptoms have been intense and extremely into the extremes. Feeling very, very calm and then feeling agitated. And all kinds of new symptoms showed up. We're still playing out the heart chakra, so we're still having activity in the chest and upper back, but the skin rashes are still very strong at this time. Feeling like you're losing balance when you walk, when you run, losing balance easily. Appetite, feeling like you don't need to eat, feeling like you need to eat lighter. That's a huge sign that your body is changing. The chemical processes in your body are changing. That's all because of the work that the cells are doing and the transformation in your awareness and the alignment trying to take place in yourself. A lot of people are set to meet soul family members, new friends, new lovers, new everything basically. And this phase is usually shows up usually by synchronicities, finding people in situations you never planned, bumping into someone, a situation happens, and then that person becomes your friend, stuff like that. But new soul family members, and you're gonna feel it. The connection is so totally different. They are different than the people that you know or that you have in your life right now. They understand you better. They understand spirituality better. They understand the transformation of spiritual awakening much more. So that just means that you've reached a new level and you're attracting these people because it's a reflection of who you are inside or who you become inside. So now these people are just showing up. That's the law of attraction. Other than that, the divine masculine, a lot of them are still in what feels like a dark night of the soul, trying to figure out what they want to do next. But a lot of them have released so much. They have released so much old energies, karmic situations, and ways of thinking. Shedding, what I'm seeing is losing weight, but not necessarily physical weight, but weight. Whatever was weighing on them, losing that. They are seeing people for what they are and who they are. And a lot of them are keeping quiet because they are in strategy mode. They are aware of this, they are conscious of this, and they are wondering, what am I going to do next? Because for a lot of them, it's a complex situation that they cannot break away from so easily, like a divorce, like breaking a business partnership. It's not something that you can do one morning saying, okay, I'm done, I quit. So they are in strategy mode. They are trying to figure out, how am I going to do this and what am I going to do to replace it? Especially for the ones that are doing this on a business level or work level. For those who are doing that on a romantic level, divorces, breakups, spending time alone after that breakup, it's all on the menu, on the plate for now. And some divine masculine are already in this and far along in this process, that they've been single and celibate for some time, working on themselves. And they're now like doing the fine-tuning of their new selves, doing their fine-tuning of their new divine self, more aligned self. So that's why the forgiveness is really big at this time. It's important. If you're in a twin flame connection and you've been feeling angry because you haven't heard from your twin, or because you had a fallout and the situation was not resolved, trust that they know. Trust that they were able to shift some of their perceptions, if not all, towards that situation. And forgive. If you want to see them again, if you want to speak with them again, it starts by forgiving. They were doing the best that they could at that time. Maybe they hurt you. I agree with that. Maybe they were hurtful. An apology is coming. So in order to be open to receive that, we cannot be in our ego. We cannot be in angry mode. We need to be in forgiveness mode so that the door stays open for those new adventures to show up. And it will come no matter how long it's been. If you've been doing what you're supposed to be doing, destiny will play out no matter what happened, no matter how many bumps in the roads there were. It will happen. Destiny is destiny. Nobody can escape destiny. Nobody. It's going to run or chase after you until you get on board with it, so to speak. Destiny is, I know it's hard sometimes to believe that it's going to happen, or that the thing that you had envisioned can happen. But by hanging on to the feelings of failure, you're pushing away your manifestation even more. It's by forgiving that you're getting closer. It's by releasing and letting go of any and all negative emotions that you get closer to what you want to see manifest in your life. So if you are in a twin flame connection, forgive your twin. Forgive those around who had negative thoughts or who had interference, made interference with your connection. Who cares? Release them. Forgive them and wish for light to be part of their lives. They're going to go on and live their lives and go through their own lessons, and that's playing out as well. A lot of people that were in our lives, either soulmates, but not necessarily on the romantic level, but soul contracts or soulmates, a lot have been judgmental towards the twin flames lately. That's done. They started a new cycle of karma, of lessons to be dealt with. So they're going to see their own truth. You have nothing to do. Nothing to do aside from, I forgive you. And I forgive myself for being in this situation, for not being aware enough, or whatever negative emotions and feeling you still can have playing inside of you. Forgiveness. And I know when it's something big, a big situation, a big phase in your life, forgiveness may take longer, but it's so worth the while, so worth achieving and being patient for, because after that, we are truly free from that. Truly, it's like you reach a point where you're able to look back at how your life was and think, oh my God, I've been through this. It doesn't even feel like it's part of my life. That's really a sign that you're healed. If you're still talking about it, thinking about it, or feeling it, you're not healed. There's more work that needs to be done, either forgiveness, more love, more of something and less of something else. So that's why doing some inner work is good. So from now until the next eclipse, it's time to integrate, time to figure out things, time to clean, and time to get ready and prepared for the next one. Because after that, it's going to be a whole different rhythm. So good things ahead. Again, staying in our hearts. And more love, always more love, is always the answer. Thank you so much for being here and listening. You can follow me on Instagram at IndigoGirl555, on Facebook at Indigo Girls Readings, or you can send me an email at indigogirl555@gmail.com. Thank you so much for being here, and until next time, be well.